All right, welcome. Here we are, still in Chitose in Sapporo on Hokkaido in Japan. I'd mentioned my plans to head back to the States, which in fact we are going to do today. I'd also mentioned the possibility, and by the way, I apologize, the fact that you can see nothing. It is 5:34 in the morning. We're getting a very early start here in Japan. But I had mentioned the possibility of having to land at Cold Bay before we got to Alaska, or rather to Anchorage. However, I've now looked at the charts for this flight, and I have determined that my decision to fly from Tokyo up to Sapporo just to knock a few hundred miles off this flight was a good one, because the distance between where we are now and Anchorage is 2,633 nautical miles, which is well within the range of this aircraft. Estimating 5 hours and 31 minutes in the air. Expecting, based on the fact that we're headed west to east, we should have some good tailwind assistance on this flight. But enough of all this inky, soupy blackness. Let's get inside our airplane for part one of this video, which will be our taxi and takeoff from Chitose, New Chitose International Airport in Japan, and the end of our tour of the well, not entire Pacific Rim, because we went from Sacramento to Maui, Maui to Tahiti, Tahiti to Sydney, Sydney to Tahiti to Auckland, Auckland to Sydney, Sydney to Perth, Perth to Singapore, Singapore to Kuala Lumpur, Kuala Lumpur to... Where did we go from Kuala Lumpur? Haneda, I think. Yeah. And Haneda up here where we are now. So let's go ahead and start our airplane up. Cold, dark cockpit. And we'll go ahead and start our batteries. It's funny, sometimes it says TAWS system test okay, and sometimes it doesn't. Go figure. Wish there was more consistency in that department. And we'll start our generators. Start our APU. Weather this morning, 32 degrees, mostly cloudy. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 7. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 7. All right, waiting for our APU to spool up to 100%. Almost there already. Moving right along. We'll calibrate our altimeter. You see right now it's showing us at minus 160 feet. That's because our altimeter is not calibrated. Now, 30.15 altimeter is correctly calibrated. Go ahead and, now that we're at 100%, we'll go ahead and start up the left. Actually, we'll start with the right engine. I think procedurally you're supposed to start with the right engine first, so let's do that. Let's see if that's working. It is. Ooh, it's cold. Oil temperature, -1 Celsius. Okay, right engine spooling up. Continue our setup here. We're going to fly at 45,000 feet, flight level 450, as high as this baby can go for this long 5.5 hour flight back to the good old US of A. Landed at Anchorage several times in the sim, but always in the TBM, never in the Longitude. So we'll see how that goes, but that's a long way from now. Local time here in LA is 12:38. Looks like we're getting pushed back already, so let's deactivate our parking brake. Allow that pushback to happen. Let's get those recognition lights on. Okay, right engine's just about there. It's really close, 58.7. We'll go ahead and take that. Is this closed? Can't tell. Oh, no, 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 I didn't mean to do that. Oh, shit. Let's try that again. I accidentally turned our right engine off. Whoops. Again, this is not edited. Okay, altitude set to 45,000 feet. Let's set our VS. I think you can stop with the pushback, guys. Good grief. All right. VS is going to be at 3,500 feet. All right. Okay. Flight directors are both screens activated. Good. And speed, we'll switch from FMS to manual and set our climb out. I like to climb out at 200. Let's go and switch our nav source to FMS, bearing 1 GPS. PFD settings, wind option 2. All right, hustling through here. See if we're good now on, yes. Okay, let's try that again on the, not again, but let's start our left engine now. See if we're seeing it. Yep, okay, good. It's coming up. That's good. Oh, let's turn on our pitot heat. There it is, pitot static on. All right. Okay. So yeah, I apologize for the early start. I hope you can, I have to apologize to my passenger. We got our arrows now. But anyway, we want to get to Alaska sooner rather than later. I would normally go outside just to look around to get an idea about how I'm supposed to maneuver, but Jiminy Christmas if it isn't pitch black. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and turn on our turn on our remaining lights. Taxi, not pulse. Taxi, anti-collisions. For now, we'll leave it at that. And we'll ready our timer. Activate all speed bugs. And we'll get our timer ready, but we won't start it. Oh my goodness, 2.78 miles to the runway. Yowzers. Okay. Well, might as well get going. Okay, let's, sorry, I'll take off my slippers before I get onto the rudder pedals. Do 1 notch of flaps. There we go, 1 notch, and we'll deactivate our APU now. Okay, let's go. I don't know if we can make a sharp turn to the right here. Use those toe brakes, they'll help us to turn more sharply. There you go. Good. Man, is it dark or is it dark? Holy smokes. I love that we have to run a 5K to get to the runway threshold. Let's try to taxi as quickly as is practicable and safe. 17, 18 knots of ground speed right now. Winds are pretty mild, 5 knots in the sim, which is 7 miles an hour in real life. That's consistent weather data. Zoom in here on our MFD just so we have a better view of the airport grounds. .5 miles. Interesting. What? Well, the sim has selected 19er right to take off. All right. Suits me. I wouldn't have expected that. We landed on 01 left yesterday. They want us taken off to the south. That's very strange. Yeah, this is weird. Because our flight plan has us taken off to the north. I don't know about this. Sometimes this is wrong though, so let's just see. Because looking at this, and when I say this, I mean it points to a runway that we're not actually going to. That's helpful, right? Anyway, the only reason I say that is where we are here, that seems more like it's 2 miles away than that does. I don't know. Let's just see how this goes. Got a little left turn coming up. We'll make that. Well, I don't see anybody else in the area, airplane-wise. But then again, it's 5:30 in the morning on a Monday in Sapporo, so I guess maybe I shouldn't be entirely surprised. I can't imagine, I mean, with all love and respect for Sapporo, I can't imagine this is a huge draw in the sim world at 5:30 in the morning on a Monday. Of course, it's just 5:45. It's 12:45 here in LA on Sunday afternoon, but in Japan it's Monday morning. Let's see where they're taking us. They want us left, huh? Okay. Taxiing beautifully right now in terms of maintaining a realistic speed on the ground. I can't overstate how useful the visualized simulation is right here on the center screen, because out the window I can't really see squat, but being able to see where the taxiways are and the yellow lines on which we want to stay can really be helpful. "17 knots, 1.8 miles. Oh my goodness. Just taxiing to the runway is going to be longer than the flight itself. I feel like the skies look pretty clear. I can see stars. Yeah, we'll see once we get up. At least there's no thunderstorms now that we're out of the tropics. Got our white-green airport identifier light flashing. White-green indicating a civilian airport. We'll get there eventually. It sure looks to me, see, even this is very interesting. You see how this says we're going to 19 right, but clearly we're not. Look. You see? We're taxiing all the way down, then we'll turn around to take off to the north. So I don't know why it says we're taking off from runway 19 right. We are not. Which is good. I don't want to take off from runway 19 right. Winds are mild enough that shouldn't be an issue. Moving right along here. 33 knots. I'm being a little bit coy. I'm just trying to get there. We're basically just, the runway we're taking off from is right here to our left, parallel to the taxiway we're on. Arm our nav for our takeoff so that when we activate the autopilot on takeoff, it'll immediately begin flying the route that we're supposed to be on to get to Anchorage. Not going to forget to start the timer. Nor am I going to forget to bring in the flaps. Okay. We'll be there in no time. You'll be happy to know that according to ForeFlight, at our current speed, it would take us 84 hours and 32 minutes to get to Anchorage. Needless to say, this flight will be considerably shorter. Okay. Just a half mile now from the runway threshold. Doesn't seem like there's any traffic right now in the airport. But we're going to be taking off at 5:49 a.m., so... five-and-a-half-hour flight time. It puts us, what, about 5, 4, 6, 19... I'd imagine that put us, I think Anchorage is 2 hours behind Southern California. I honestly can't remember, I'm ashamed to admit. Anyway, that should get us in Anchorage, I don't know, what, 3:30 in the afternoon-ish? Something like that. Their time. All right. Well, I'm sure this has been an absolutely fascinating video of complete darkness as we get ready for this long flight across the northern Pacific Ocean. Okay. Man, is it dark? Okay, we'll stop here on the bars. Activate the landing lights, pulse, tail flood. And we'll do our timer once we get out onto the runway to line up. Anyway, my point was made. We did not go over to runway 19, right? We're on landing. We're over at runway 01 left, which is exactly the runway we landed on yesterday. Let's get out there. Let's get this bird in the sky. What do you say? Back home. Let's get back to the States.
Approaching runway 0, entered runway 01 left, 9,800
Nobody
feet
coming.
remaining.
Okay. Here we go. Are taking off with a tailwind. Mildly irritating. Don't like taking off with tailwinds. They're bad luck. They make handling difficult. Granted, this isn't the most dramatic tailwind on the planet, but I don't like it. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. We will start our timer now. All right. Let's do this. Ugh. So anxiety-inducing. All right. Sync our heading bug just in case we need to turn to that. Let's go. Airspeed's alive. $80 knots. 120. 150. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Autopilot activated. Auto throttle engaged. Flaps retracted. Taking a little time to adjust to that selected climb rate, but it's doing it. Zoom out on our MFD. Okay. Set it at 50. Reconfirm flaps are retracted. Gear up. Landing lights now off. Okay. Stable climb out. Farewell, Japan. It's been good. It's been a good trip, good flight. Good flights, I should say. Turn on FLC. Set our climb rate at 225. Now that we're at 6,000 feet. That's it. Here's your runway. Keep an eye on that AOA. Make sure our angle of attack doesn't get too significant, putting us at risk of stall. Climbing beautifully. Flaps retracted, gear up, FLC engaged. We're on our way to Anchorage, friends. See how this goes. Hopefully, if things go well, part 2, we'll check back in and start our descent and approach to Anchorage. Fingers crossed, right? Decided to use the NVIDIA recording software from now on. It takes longer to upload the videos, but the quality, I've decided, is better. Alright, that's it for now. Goodbye, Japan. It's been great. Let's go outside for a second just to say goodbye. There's Sapporo. There's the airport we just took off from. It's been good. All right, that's it. And we'll shut down the NVIDIA recording software now. It's not as intuitive as the Xbox One. Okay, record, stop recording. Hopefully see you in about 5 hours.